We are live, guys. We're starting without Jason. Jason will be joining us shortly. He had to run his son to school, and when we're done with this, I'll be running my grandkids to school. So it's school time. Yeah. So I just want to start out by saying this is interactive. If you're watching live, you can comment all you want, and we'll try to answer your comments. I'll highlight your comments up here. And I just wanted to point out that if you see the banner up here with uh, Terry Christensen's Sensi link, just go check her out real quick. And Paul might have a few things to say about that real quick.
Absolutely. So first, I know, and I'm sure Jason will want to do this too, but we want to make sure that we do wish Terry a happy birthday. Her birthday is coming up next week. And so hopefully the Hawkeyes can deliver a win for her tomorrow. And of course, Iowa State next week. So Terry, happy birthday to you. And she is my Sensi, my Sensi consultant, or our Sensi consultant, I really should say. We absolutely love the stuff. Right here I've got our caramel apple craze. It does smell just like caramel apples. And you can tell I'm kind of a fat boy. So we love the good smells. We love the good eats. And if you want your house to smell good, you want it to smell fresh, you want it to smell clean, you want your laundry to smell fresh, you want your laundry to be clean, countertops, sinks, just about anything you can think of. Sensi provides the product to make your house, your home, smell and feel the way you want it to. So check out the link. I know there's some amazing deals going on right now. There's some, there's always specials, and there are seasonal. There's seasonal opportunities as far as certain scents, certain things. They're only available certain times a year. It is fall. Yeah, everybody wants that crisp fall scent and feeling in the home. It's football season, and so with that, let's get to it.
Yeah, I do want to point out, even though we don't see his face, I have let Jason enter the thing. I don't know if he's ready to go yet, but he's
Can you guys
ready,
hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
What's going on here with my camera?
You had a problem with the camera last time too.
I don't like, on this StreamYard, my camera is.
Did you give it access or permission or whatever?
That's kind of what I'm looking for.
Okay. Well, Jason, why don't you go ahead and work on that, because we are live.
Oh, we are?
We are live. We started right at 7:45. So why don't you work on that, and you can throw in, as you're doing it, you can throw in your opinions too until we can see you.
You are looking live, ladies and gentlemen. Hey, Jason.
There you go. Jason is live. And he says he's the good looking one of the bunch.
That's
the Brad
right.
Pitt of the bunch.
Brad Pitt has arrived, everyone.
I'm not gonna be this morning though. Man, last night I was so fired up I could not sleep. I don't think I fell asleep until like 2 a.m.
Yeah.
After watching like the Purdue Penn State game and the West Virginia game.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it was a great night of football, really. I mean, those were just great.
Well, you know what? As much money as you won last night, I mean, why couldn't you be all fired up?
Well, that's just, I mean, I don't know how to say that, but I mean, that's just every week.
Yeah, I know that is. But
of course, let's be real though. The only reason you stayed up until 2 a.m. is because that Fox broadcast went on for days. My God, I think, if it wasn't for, your local morning news, they'd still be on the air. Like 9,000 commercial breaks. They turned a 3-hour football game into Gilligan's Island.
Yeah.
They're still lost out there.
That would have been another Scott Frost. Oh, too many commercial breaks for my football team. That's why we lost.
No, they have to, they gotta, they had that big $1 billion deal with the Big Ten. They gotta have some commercials to pay for that.
And they
But yeah.
got him. They got him in bunches. Good
Yeah,
Lord.
a 4-hour game in the Minnesota New Mexico game got over with a minute or two before the game and they started an hour later.
Yeah, but that's two different. That's contrasting styles.
I know.
Minnesota's going to work the clock. The clock's not really ever going to stop.
No, actually,
Minnesota. Did you notice? Can you tell the difference between, or the same, I should say, 2019 Minnesota, or is it 2019? Yeah, 2019. And what happened last night? All that zone read stuff with the quick slants to the wide receivers. They basically brought back. I mean, you could tell the OC's back. This is more than the OC. Minnesota. I'm a little more nervous now with what I saw because this OC and Morgan are right on the same page.
Yeah, I'm not as much because the two running backs pounded the rock last night, and I didn't think they threw the ball that much that I was that concerned about it. At least the parts I watched.
Well, no, that's what they do. They're back to their play action passes. Like almost every play involves the zone read, and then the quick slant. If they don't give it to the running back, they do a quick slant.
Yeah, I will say this: Iowa, I don't think is a lock for the West anymore.
Well, we never were, but we got some help last night from Penn State because had Purdue won that game, when you start looking at the crossover matchups, and it would have given Purdue a major leg up having beaten. I mean, they kind of have Iowa's schedule from last year. The difference is Iowa won the home game against Penn State. Purdue didn't this year.
Right. Yeah.
But, if you want to talk about feeling like you were, looking back in the past, I was watching that Purdue Penn State game last night thinking I was watching Iowa Penn State of 2017. I mean, the similarities there were stunning. Just, look at the fourth quarter of that game played out very similarly. In 2017, Akram Wadley gets the 70-yard pass. Iowa goes up. Penn State comes back and wins on the last play of the game.
Pretty much last play. Yeah.
Last night, Purdue gets the near 70-yard interception return for the touchdown in the fourth quarter. They go up. Penn State gets the ball, with like a minute left, goes right down the field and, from 10 yards out and puts it in the end zone. And I was having PTSD flashbacks. I was like, oh, God.
Yeah, but you remember in 2017, they had a lot better quarterback and a lot better running back.
Penn State.
Pretty much those two, we had way too much of those two.
Well, yeah, those two are still in the pros. I mean, McSorley, they both are. So,
yeah. Now, I got a comment. Okay, I'm kind of upset with both Brian Ferentz and Spencer Petras after I saw all the targets that Charlie got and all the balls he caught for 150 some odd yards last night. Why in the heck weren't we doing that last year? Why weren't we throwing the ball to him like that last year?
So you want to lose games? I don't understand this. They threw it. Think about this. Charlie is best friends with the quarterback.
Right.
They threw the ball 59 times. Of course, who's going to get targets? No, that's not how you win games in Iowa City. No, he wasn't even going to start. In Iowa City, the receivers have to run routes. They run a pro-style offense. Charlie doesn't run routes. He runs the 2 route, which is the slant. He got 2 of his catches were on the 9 route on a corner blitz. What I will give you is the quarterback he has is really good because he noticed the corner blitz. The moment that Manny Diaz, God, I do not like him as a DC. I'm grateful that he's at Penn State though. But anyway,
we don't get to play him.
He sent 2 corner blitzes on Charlie's side. The quarterback saw it and just threw it up to Charlie. Remember that very first deep one he caught?
Right, yeah.
It was a corner blitz, and all the quarterback had to do was get the ball to him before the safety gets over the top.
Yeah.
I mean, it was perfect, executed by the quarterback, but Charlie's not running routes. So that's and in Iowa City, that's the difference, and that's why KJ and Bruce and Regini runs perfect. Regini is a great route runner. The only issue I have with Regini is he drops the ball. Well, kind of like Tracy last night.
Kind of like Tracy.
Yeah.
Tracy had 3 drops. Did
Yeah.
you notice I don't even think he came back in the second half.
He was in there late in the game in the fourth quarter.
Maybe just to run a route that wasn't going to get the ball thrown to. Like he
actually,
wasn't
I think they actually threw it to him once late in the game, but he dropped it.
Yeah. Well, all I know is he had 3 drops and 2 catches. That's what I know.
Oh, so actually, the official stats. I looked up the official stats. He is officially credited with 1 catch and 1 rush. That's all.
And 1 concussion, okay. Right?
I could see that because one of his catches was where he
out of the backfield.
Yeah. So I mean, I could see if there was an actual backwards pass, then yeah, I could see that.
Yeah.
But I mean, obviously, I think both receivers are who we thought they are. I mean, Charlie would help the return game. Well, we don't know that yet because who knows? We could have explosive returners now. But I mean, as a receiver. No, Charlie's not going pro because he had 12 catches, 150 yards. He's not well. If the quarterback for Purdue is a 70% passer, he completed 50% last night. This is why I have Purdue at 6-6 because these I don't think Penn State's as good as I thought they were, to be honest. It just didn't. It was also the first game of the year, so I'll give it that. We really don't know. But against those non-conference opponents, Purdue's going to rack up stats. They're going to do what they do, score 100 points. Yeah. And then everybody's going to be like, oh. But then when they get into the Big Ten, I don't think Purdue's beating Minnesota. Like, I don't think Purdue's – obviously, I don't think they're going to beat Iowa. They don't have the receivers to take advantage of the secondary like a Bell.
Right.
Bell ran perfect routes, and Bell never dropped the ball. That's how you beat Iowa. You have to literally run perfect routes and not drop the ball.
Right. And the one thing I did notice about Purdue, I did feel better after watching the Purdue game last night because after Charlie, they don't really have any other receivers. A lot of receivers dropped balls last night.
Yeah, they all did. Even Charlie dropped balls.
Yeah, and he didn't target all of them very much. And, I mean, in other words, they don't have a Bell on the team, but he did a good job of spreading it around where he never used to because he had Bell before, just throw it up and give it to Bell. And then Rondell Moore, he had him, but I don't think he played much the last couple of years.
No, he was hurt most of his time in college. Other than his freshman year, he was hurt a lot.
Yeah, and I think a team like Iowa and now Minnesota could really hurt Purdue because Purdue needs the ball in their hands, and both Iowa and Minnesota are going to chew up time as long as they can keep the drives alive. You know?
I don't think anybody's afraid of Purdue. I mean, they completed 50%. When you throw it 60 times, the target's got to go somewhere. I think Charlie was targeted 18 times. I think 18, 19 times, and he had 12 catches. I mean, we have to be real about it. We can't just look at, holy cow, Charlie had 12 catches, 150 yards. It's Purdue's offense. They threw it 60 times.
All right. They like to throw it.
He completed 29 passes out of what, 59?
Yeah, they're going to have to
59. Yeah. I mean, we got to be real about I mean, Iowa fans are just so crazy on this. And that's what I kind of put out there is, would you be happy if tomorrow Pete just threw for 355 yards and Iowa lost? I mean, would that make you happy? I don't understand.
No.
Like, people say Iowa's fortunate to have a defense. No, that's their style. That's what they want. Purdue wants an offense. Purdue loses games by giving up 35 points.
Right.
Iowa wins games by giving up 17 points. I mean,
do the two have to? Do they have to be mutually exclusive though? I mean, can you have both a good defense and a competent offense? Like, is that against the rules to be able?
That's not against the rules.
No, I mean Georgia. You can have 5-star athletes everywhere. That's what Georgia does. Georgia runs Iowa's style. The difference is they got 5 stars everywhere, 4 and 5 stars. No, but to have, it's not about a competent. Iowa has a competent offense. They do what they do, but then once Iowa gets up by double digits, like I think you said this in the past, KF in the past would say, okay, let's just run the ball. Let's work this clock. Let's see if we can't get a couple first downs by running the ball. I mean, that's what I mean by that. You can have both, but KF, I mean, he shuts down the offense. KF doesn't give a F about yards, period. Remember against Penn State? It was what there was like even. Can you hear me?
Yes.
No, I was. Somebody said hello, so I was just saying.
I'm not used to that. I didn't.
Hey, big boy.
But against last year against Penn State, think about it, there was 2 minutes left, and even I think the announcers said, "Hey, they can't run out the clock. What are they doing?" They were taking a knee to punt it to Penn State.
Right.
So KF is about winning. That's what he wants to do, and Iowa is winning more than they ever have. Think about that. In the last 5-6 years or whatever it is, they have won more games than they ever had, or they have the best winning percentage. I'll say that because obviously they're going to win more games because they play more games, but the winning percentage is the best it's ever been over a 6-year span.
I think for Iowa fans, and Kirk has done some adjusting in the last few years, and I think it's reflecting in the record a little bit. Iowa fans, if you're going to run this ball control offense, it's the settling for 3 in the red zone too much. It's the punting from inside your opponent's field, inside your opponent's territory. These are the things that I think it's those decisions at times that frustrate Iowa fans because they're like, oh, it's 4th and 1 and we're taking the 3 instead of maybe being a little more aggressive and going for it. But then again, that's one of those things where, if you go for it, you don't get it. Everybody's screaming, why didn't you kick the field goal?
And that's how you lose games. Right. I mean, that's my defense. It's all about, look at Nebraska. Look at what I said. They passed for 355 yards. They still lost. Purdue, they threw the ball 59 times, I think, for 356
yards.
Is that what it is?
Yeah.
Okay, so 1 more yard than Nebraska, and they still lost. So they went that extra yard and still lost. So, no, yes, I'm an air raid guy. I watch Mike Leach. I love his offense, and that's actually why I picked West Virginia as my lock of the week because they run the air raid now, and I like Graham Harrell. I love JT Daniels. I mean, and I knew it was going to be a close game. That half a point is why I bet 7.5. But as Iowa, I want Iowa to win. I don't want them to come out and run the air raid. That's not who they are. It wouldn't make any sense. That's not KF style. KF could never hire an air raid offensive coordinator because he wouldn't like it, right? They would just fight. So, and that's why Whipple at Nebraska was fighting with Pittsburgh. What Pittsburgh did last night is what the head coach wants to do. Mark Whipple wanted to throw the ball over the yard. That guy is basically a KF guy. He wants to pound the rock, right? He wants to work the clock. Pitt's head coach. So they have to mesh. And I absolutely love what Iowa does because they win. I only want to see them win. I don't care if Peters throws for 59 yards tomorrow. If they win 35-10 because they ran the ball 70 times, like Paul mentioned, I'm happy. I don't care. When I watch Iowa, I only care about winning. I watch other teams for style play, things that I like in football. But Iowa, I could care less as long as they get the W. And that's why I don't understand a lot of
rather win ugly than lose pretty.
Yeah. I mean, I don't understand. That's why I don't understand a lot of Iowa fans because, they get all mad. Look at all this offense. But you put the defense on the field more when you run no huddle. I explained this in our last video about Tennessee. They run 100 plays a game, but so does their defense because their defense is always on the field. So there's a huge difference. And people don't realize, even with how Iowa runs the offense and they get those 3 and outs last year, Iowa's defense still wasn't on the field as much as the opponent's defense was because of style play. We had games like Kentucky where the defense couldn't get off field on 3rd down, right? And Minnesota, the same thing. They pounded the rock at Iowa, and they had 40 minutes of time possession. But Iowa won, the Minnesota one.
Yep.
Well, I don't.
Hey, guys, I want to highlight something real quick. The reason why I have this up here, right here, is because this is my granddaughter, Sophie. So she's actually watching with us this morning.
Hi, Sophie.
Hey, Sophie.
I was so fired up from last night. Like I said, I couldn't sleep. I haven't shaved. Man, I'm not even normal this morning. I don't think I fell asleep before 2:00. I'm ready for game day. I gotta get this shaved.
I've seen some people like on Facebook or whatever, kind of obviously upset with Charlie Jones. I did want to get back to this real quick. I don't think it's that he left. It's the destination that really bothers people. Yeah, because we're talking about the air raid. If Charlie had left to go to Mississippi State to play in their air raid offense and show off his wide receiver skills, I think Iowa fans as a collective would be a little sad, thinking, okay, well, that's a weapon we could have used, but totally understood. Okay, you're going to go play in Mike Leach's offense, and
right.
You want to go show off your wide receiver skills, and it's not likely to impact Iowa in any way. But
right,
I do think, especially with the way the leagues are changing, and the expansions and this and that they've got to put some kind of barriers in place at some point, because you really can't have players going within your division or within your pod or within your conference and they're not being some level of deterrent from that, even if it's just, hey, you can go anywhere you want, but you can't be on scholarship for a year. If you want to transfer within the conference, if you want to walk on from to Purdue from Iowa, absolutely fine. But, there has to be some kind of deterrent for me, for transferring within the conference. That I believe in that.
Well, a couple of things I noticed. First of all, about what you said, I actually don't disagree with you on that. And I think the people are more upset because he went to an arch rival from the West, Purdue.
Yes.
I think,
but I totally understand him going there. I wish him the best. I just don't want him to do well. I just don't want him to do that well against us.
Oh, he won't.
The other part of it was the timing, right? I mean,
Yeah.
He waited to do this. I think it was after spring. After
he wasn't on the depth chart,
right?
Like he wasn't in the too deep at wide receiver.
Yeah, he was like number 5 or number 6, and he had a couple of walk-ons ahead of him after the spring ended.
Yeah, like I said, Jack Johnson was showing Charlie up. So
right.
If this announcement had come after the bowl but before spring, maybe people would see it, see it a little bit differently too.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I want to say one final thing about this game, and then we need to get on to the San Diego State game. Did anybody notice that there was an E. Miller on the offensive line for Purdue last night? No. E. Miller. Could that have been our Ezra Miller that we lost, that we thought we lost in Nebraska, but maybe he left Nebraska and went to Purdue?
Well, did you look it up by chance?
I did not, but he had E. Miller written on his thing, and he was an offensive lineman. What are the odds?
I think wouldn't he be done by now?
Well, that's what I was thinking, but he could be using his 6th year at Purdue.
That's a valid point. I didn't think about that.
That's actually Ezra's evil twin brother, Edward.
Yeah. All right, let's get moving on to the San Diego State game, because we want to give our who's got the dog.
You keep saying San Diego State.
I know it. It's South Dakota State. Sorry, we are not playing San Diego State. Last time we played at San Diego State, it was in basketball, and we did not win.
Hey, I'd be all for playing the Aztecs. I mean,
Right.
Oh, I was fortunate enough to get to, after our game was over last night, or the Purdue game was over last night, flipping channels, not expecting to find any more football, and Fresno State and Paso Robles were playing last night. Not Paso Robles, San Luis Obispo.
That is one advantage to living out in California, right? You can flip channels that at 9 o'clock and still catch football. I'm over here. That game didn't end until after, it was this morning. Like I said, they were still playing football, into the wee hours of the morning over here.
I know it because it was after 9 o'clock.
Ridiculous.
It was after 9 o'clock when that game finally ended.
Yeah, that's funny. We literally reached the whole country, California, Florida, and I'm right in the middle.
Right. Yeah, that's actually true. We're coast to coast.
We are literally
with a pit stop in Nebraska. I always thought he lived in Iowa, and I found out recently he lived in Omaha.
Yeah, well, I wish I lived on the good side of the river. My wife got her master's over on this side of the river, and she likes it over here, so we ended up sticking here.
Actually, if you're in Omaha, are you really out of Iowa? Don't you guys just travel across the bridge several times a week or something?
If you talk to the natives, you're out of Iowa. They got all kinds of weird things.
Then you go to the airport thinking you're in Omaha and you're actually in Iowa.
Yeah. Carter Lake.
I've been to that airport before. It reminds me of going to the Des Moines airport. But anyhow.
Yeah, they're similar.
Yeah. So anyhow.
Hey, Dean, before we transition over to Iowa real quick, I just want to say one more time for everybody to check out Terry's Scentsy page. We've got the link here on the video. We'll have the link posted when we actually post the video as well to her Scentsy page. Again, we do use it. This is legit. We all have warmers. We all have the different products, and the ladies in our lives love it. They make for great gifts. The shipping is fast. The prices are great, and the customer service that you'll get from Terry is fantastic. So check out her page. And again, with her birthday coming up, happy early birthday, Terry.
Happy birthday, Terry. I'm surprised Terry's not live with us, but she's got her business to run.
Yeah, that's fine.
And she does it well.
Paul's turned into Fox, so with all these commercials.
I know it. He was influenced too much. But here's the thing. Paul gets home from work last night thinking he's just going to catch the last couple of minutes of a game, and he's got a whole fourth quarter to watch.
It was still in the third quarter. It was like 5 minutes left in the third quarter. I was like, okay, you know what? I might get home in time to catch the last 5 minutes of the game and see how it ends. I'm like, oh, I got a whole quarter of ball. So you know what I did? I popped open the Bacardi and said, let's do this thing, man.
Yeah, but it also was a style play.
Yeah.
Remember, every time Purdue threw an incomplete pass, the clock
stops the clock.
Yeah. So, and Penn State, I don't even know if he completed 50% of his pass. Last I looked, that I saw, he was like, 10 of 20 something. So I mean, but he didn't throw the ball well at all.
Yeah, so, I think they said he had kind of an issue with his knee.
Well, he got hit in the knee.
Yeah, right at the last play or two, right before the half.
Yeah, he got nailed right in the knee. You missed that, but that brace worked well because he got twisted up.
Oh.
And he was still able. He just thumbs up to the sideline and walked it off.
Well, I'm going to give you Sean Clifford's stats. I got him right here. He was 20 for 37, so he was over 50% for 282 yards, 4 touchdowns, 1 interception.
That's pretty good.
Yeah,
I think Iowa fans would take that kind of stat line.
Yeah.
But they would
especially if the company needs a win.
Yeah, but they would still bring up the fact it was 55% completion.
Right. Yeah.
There'd be some negative thing.
Yeah, and his heir apparent, Drew Aller, this sensational freshman they were bragging about, was 2 for 4 for 26 yards, right at 50%.
Small sample size, but not bad.
Okay, so let's talk about our opponent because we're very excited because that game takes place tomorrow morning, 9 a.m. my time. So I don't have to wait near as long as you guys do. I just have to get up and turn on the TV and start with Game Day, or turn on my YouTube and listen to Dolph and Gary, Dolph and Eddie get the game all primed. Because is it really game day if you're not listening to the pregame show for 2 hours that Iowa puts out there with Dolph and Eddie?
Yeah, I can't help it.
Is there a link to that we could post in the video as well for people who might want that?
If you just type Iowa Hawkeye live or pregame show on YouTube, you'll find it.
Okay.
Yeah, it's on YouTube. I was gonna say.
Okay.
Yeah, it's on YouTube because I've tried iHeart because iHeart no longer carries them, and TuneIn Radio, which was the other way I used to listen, they now charge you to watch it, and then I accidentally run into the live on YouTube, and I go, yeah, there you go.
But the
Problem solved.
The YouTube thing's really cool. If you know of a big play like the Penn State game to redeem, go back and just kind of watch their reaction to that play. It's so cool.
It is cool to watch those guys' reaction. I wish they put the camera more on their level because they kind of put it up above them.
Yeah, but it's still pretty cool.
No, it is very cool. Let's go. So, okay, what are we gonna see from San Diego State gosh, dang it, South Dakota State?
Just say SDSU. Just say
SDSU. There we go. What are we gonna see from them? What are we going to see from them? What do they do that might give our Hawkeyes fits, guys?
Go ahead, Paul, if you want.
So, I think my biggest concern here is that this is a competent, confident football program, right? They play, they're a successful team at the level of football they play at. And I don't know that they'll be overly intimidated early on, and I'd almost rather play a fledgling mid-level MAC team that kind of understands who they are, we're Akron, they're Iowa, and eventually these guys think, hey, not only can we play with them, but we're good enough to beat them, and we expect to go in there and compete. I don't know. These games always kind of unnerve me a little bit. So I do think Iowa is more talented. I think, correct me if I'm wrong on this, but I think they have fewer scholarship guys at that level. Do they have 60 scholarships or something along those lines?
They also, some of them don't get full scholarships.
Okay. So I mean, by the end of this thing, I think Iowa's that I just don't think they should be able to physically keep up with, the talent level that we have. But we've seen this before, right? Jacksonville State beat FSU last year in the opening game. Of course, you go back to Michigan and Appalachian State, Iowa, North Dakota State, whatever. I do have some fear that, after tomorrow, it's going to be SDFU. So, but outside of that, I mean, I do think Iowa is more talented and certainly has more roster depth. And, so I don't see this. I do see Iowa winning this game. And I do think that it's going to be a Iowa blowout, but it's going to be just ugly football in the sense that, it's going to be Kirk style that we keep talking about. We, get up 10, 17 points, and then, it's going to be a lot of handoffs in the fourth quarter.
A controlled blowout.
Right.
Iowa blowout, 35-17, right?
Right, exactly.
Yeah, a controlled blowout, 24/7 type stuff.
The difference in whether in any of what we can't predict is, do we get a defensive score or a special team score? Otherwise, I mean, the offense is going to put up, I think, 17 to 20 points. And maybe it's a, 20-3 kind of win. If the defense again gives us a score or special teams gives us a score, I think that's where we get to 27-10 kind of game. That's my take.
Well, I got a slightly different take.
Oh, I like that.
Other than your score, I'm sticking with my 35-10. I believe I'll tell you why. I believe Iowa's offense will get 200 yards rushing and 200 yards passing. I
love that balance. That would be amazing.
And I actually like if I was game planning this game, because I already know. Now I think every team on the schedule is going to do this, but they're going to try to make Petrus beat them. Right? That's my thing. And I think the only chance SDSU has at beating Iowa is making Petrus beat them, right? So, like, if I was game planning my offense for this game, there would be opening in the game. There'd be a lot of play action passes deep. Like, send your receiver. If Bruce is out there and healthy, send him on a post route on a play action because South Coast State is going to be coming. So I would like to see a lot of, even if it's 3 straight screen passes to start the game to the running back, like play action and then dip it out there because they're going to be coming hard. And that's kind of like my take in the beginning of the game, and then as the flow of the game goes, and then just take over the game.
Jason,
can I ask you a question on that?
Wait, hold up real quick, because Jason, I think you just made all of Iowa fans' buttholes pucker a little bit when you said if Arlen Bruce is out there and healthy, like don't do that. Don't do that.
Don't jinx it. Don't jinx it.
Don't do that.
My bad. You're right. I shouldn't have said that. And I'm a big karma and jinx thing, so I don't know why I said that.
Yeah,
like
I don't let people
that kind of thing into existence.
Yeah. Well, question I got though is the screen pass to the running backs. Are the Williamses, are they capable of that?
Yes. LaShawn can catch the ball very well.
Okay.
And Gavin can catch the ball. LaShawn is another Wadley. He's not Goodson-esque, but he's Wadley-esque.
Okay, like, I did not realize that. I thought they both were north-south runners. Take the ball.
Well, they are, but they are. But LaShawn has hands. I mean, doesn't take away from his north-south running. He has hands. Yeah,
but when I see a screen pass to a running back, I see it. I see it sweeping over to the side and down the sideline.
Oh.
More like a Tyler Goodson.
Well, by the way, I am predicting a red zone reverse because Brian loves the red zone reverse. So
the last time he tried that, we didn't come up with any score, and he's never gone back to it.
Charlie dropped the ball and it was wide open. Were you anybody at that game? It was on that reverse, and Charlie, if he would have just caught the ball on the reverse, the announcer, we didn't get to see it at home, but the announcer said it would have been wide open too.
Yeah.
So obviously it was a good call, but remember Charlie had a fall on it. It was just a big old.
Right.
Yeah. So, but Bruce is better at it. Bruce is better at the reverses and stuff like that.
Right.
But anyway, I think as the flow of the game goes, Iowa will probably, like what you said, will slowly take over the game. Because think about this. Okay, we've talked about Iowa's offensive line and the size, right? This isn't last year. We got 4 300-pounders, and then Logan Lee in the middle. I think he's 290, right? 295, something like that.
He's 290, but apparently he's just 290 ball of muscle. Like
right.
Yeah.
Right. And SDSU, their defensive tackles are 270.
Oh.
Their defensive ends are 245 to 260.
Look out.
So, yeah. I mean, and the middle linebacker, the kid from Solon, Iowa, who I really like, but probably didn't get offers from anywhere because, he's 215. He's 6'1" and 215 in the middle.
Oh, boy.
Granted, he has speed, right? So you probably may not want to test him, like as far as throwing over the middle in his area, because he probably does have a radius, but a very wide one. I'm guessing he's got to have something, right? At that size, you better be fast. So I really think Iowa can just start banging on him on him.
I was just about to say, what I'm hearing is 3 tight end sets and just go out and Big Ten their ass. I mean, that's what I just heard.
I honestly, in this game, believe Iowa would win the game if they just obviously in the beginning, it may not work as well, right? because South Dakota State be fired up. So, but leaning on them all game, it's going to eventually those 2 and 3 yard carries will turn into 4 and 5 yard carries, and maybe even bust one loose. But I want them to start the game. I want to see a few play action passes. Don't run the ball, because I think they're going to have 8 dudes up in the box. I think they're going to be coming to stop the run, because that's their only chance. If Iowa is allowed to run the ball, this game's over. That's why I believe I'm sticking with my 35-10 score. I don't ever, go away from what I believe. I don't let somebody talk me into something. So I'm sticking with that. And I really believe 200 yards, and maybe it's 250 yards, rushing, and 200 yards passing.
By the way, can we talk about the funniest thing I heard all week real quick? I guess Kirk was asked about Jennings Dunker not being on the depth chart.
Oh, yeah. I shared it right away, man.
Kirk was like, "What do you mean? He's on the depth chart. He's on there." Yeah.
The reporter's like, "No,
he's not.
No, he's not."
And Kirk's like, "We'll put him on there.
We'll put him on there."
Yeah, Kirk. He doesn't care. Kirk does not care about a depth chart. He doesn't care what your offensive stats are. He just wants to win games.
Yeah.
Like right now, I'm just going to tell you guys. Right now, Kirk and staff are all giddy by the depth that they have. Kirk and I heard a rumor, like Kirk and Parker both said that this team has never been this deep ever. They've never had these issues having so many true freshmen come in that would play any other years, right? Like this big running back Johnson kid apparently is like on most years they would actually, like a Coker, remember him?
Mm-hmm.
Most years he would probably play a lot, like Marcus Coker did. And
right.
X is coming in, and he's not on the 2 deep, but like you heard Kirk, right?
He'll play. He's gonna play.
He's gonna play.
TJ Hall.
They're not gonna redshirt him. TJ Hall. They're not gonna redshirt him. He's gonna play.
Right, but Hall is gonna be basically special teams.
You think so?
I'm hearing he might be a gunner, so they'll have, because
Terry.
Yeah, Terry has to play. He's got to play defense, so they're gonna have others out there. And I heard Hall is like a 4.3 40 guy or something. So, they're going to have to block him if they don't. And then he gets a free shot and gets around. He's going to get to that ball. Like
he's going to get, yeah.
By the way, last night also showed maybe a difference in coach philosophy or risk aversion for Kirk versus like Jeff Brom. Seeing that Purdue isn't particularly deep at wide receiver, and Charlie's out there catching 12 passes. He was also out there fielding punts and doing kickoff returns too. Like Iowa fans were like, "Oh God, we can't have Arlen Bruce back there because what if something else?" You got to put your best players out there and give them a chance to succeed.
And speaking of that, did you kind of see Charlie get destroyed in the return game?
He did. He did get slobbered.
He did more fair catches than anything else. And
when he did return it, he got killed.
He got hammered. Oh, he got hammered. They were right there.
So
him and Tracy both are seeing stars. We're seeing stars last night at one point.
Oh yeah. So Charlie's going to learn like, oh dang, return kicks in Iowa City is a little bit different. They take it seriously. Having Woods as your special teams coordinator, they actually blocked for me. These boys aren't blocking for Charlie. Even on the kickoff return, he got to the 12-yard line from the goal line on a kickoff return.
Yeah.
Well, that's what those guys said on the BTN bus tour this year, is that that was kind of what stood out to them was the amount of special teams work Iowa did while they were there.
Yeah, I mean, they take it seriously. Woods is the real deal. I mean,
Iowa really believes in all 3 phases of the game.
Yeah.
You guys might not remember this, but way early in Kirk's career, it has probably helped result in his first winning season, is that he had different players on special teams, and special teams were losing him games. And what he decided to do was start putting people like Bob Sanders on special teams. He decided, I'm going to use my best players on special teams. And once he did that, Iowa started winning games.
It was 2004 when he started putting 2003 when he started putting Greenway, Greenway was on the punt team.
Right.
And starting linebacker. So
Yeah.
like he did. He started putting at certain spots. Obviously, he has fillers because you can't put all the starters on the special teams.
Right.
He put his guys like Greenway, Hodge, those kind of guys that can get down the field and make open field tackles for special teams.
That is true, and that's what from that point on, he's made it a special teams an emphasis. And as any true Hawkeye fan knows, that special teams have done a lot for Iowa over the years.
Yeah, that's KF's style. I mean, he wants to take 3 and play defense. Let the defense do what they do. Take 3. Let the defense do what they do. Take 3. I mean, he doesn't care. He goes, let's just make that scoreboard go up, even if it's 3 at a time, and challenge you to score on my defense. Right?
And speaking of, do we know what kind of offense South Dakota State runs?
I was going to get to that. If you want me to explain what I think is going to give Iowa issues on defense.
Yes, go for it.
My only they have Isaiah Davis as a running back. Their last year's running back is in the league, right? But apparently Isaiah Davis has the same, type of he could be a league player too. So apparently he's really good. But he has no I'm only going off what I'm hearing from South Dakota State. So, but my only concern about this game, because I think the D-line will take care of the running quarterback. I'm not worried about the running quarterback. I'm not worried about the running backs. Because like I said, I'm hearing so much, and there's so much depth. The defensive line could go 8 deep. I mean, think about that. They've never done anything like that. We go all the way back to the Norm Parker days where if you start, you start. You don't come out.
That's right.
He would leave 3 linebackers on the field, 4 linemen all the time. But it's the Yankee boys. They are Yankee. I don't know how to pronounce it. Whatever. But they're both 6'3". They're twins, I think. And they're receivers. So that's like if you put 1-on-1 with Moss at 5'10", I mean, they could probably take advantage of that. Granted, their quarterback is not the best thrower. People are going to say because he was the freshman or he was the player of the year in the conference, but that's with rushing yards. I believe he had 15 touchdowns. Like he's only thrown 15 touchdowns. So he was the player of the year in the Division I AA. What is it now? FCS.
FCS.
He won player of the year only throwing 15 touchdowns, right? So he's a running quarterback. I know Iowa fans like get nervous because we play our zones, but I don't think this will be that big of an issue.
Can we spy him with Campbell? Is that something that Iowa
could
do
or Jenkins? Yeah, or not Jenkins, Jacobs. Or Jacobs. Like you could spy with Jacobs would be Campbell would probably be better spy because Jacobs is really good in pass coverage. I think PFF had Jacobs as one of the top linebackers in the country in pass coverage, which sounds odd when they take him out to bring in the cash.
Right.
So, I mean, I wouldn't mind seeing Jacobs take Benson's spot when they bring in the cash because Seth Benson's not the best pass defender, right?
Maybe they will. We'll find out Saturday. Tomorrow morning.
One of those pass situations. So
that's one of those coaching adjustment tweaks kind of things that they do go on during the game, but it's hard to see, it's hard to keep track of, and I would think, we just stay in our base defense and we don't ever adjust and that kind of thing, and fans do complain about that type of thing. But I guarantee you those types of adjustments are happening, but especially in the heat of the moment, you're not focused on Benson ran off and X came in,
Right. So, I mean, but they have 2 tight ends that are supposed to be really good. I'm not really worried. One of them is like a preseason All-American, but I want to see him and maybe I'm being too confident about this defense, but it's everything I'm hearing. And it's, it's from the coaches as well. They know, They said they've never had these issues with so many freshmen who could come in and start. That's how good recruiting is going, is now we're getting players that come in that, holy cow, they actually would compete with the starter. X athletically is so much better than Schultz, right? But Schultz is really good at what they want their safeties to do. So you can't just put X in there because Schultz, he knows what he's supposed to do, where X can make mental errors. Mm-hmm. And in Iowa style, they can't afford mental errors. Right?
We hadn't talked about Aaron Graves yet.
Exactly. That's what I mean. Like, they go 8 deep on that defensive line. Aaron Graves, like Kirk said in the press conference, he's like, we'd be idiots if we redshirted him. So, I mean, it's all that kind of stuff. You know, that's all what I'm hearing, that like the coaches are so excited. I mean, and Iowa fans are talking 7-5, 8-4. No, the coaches are thinking 12 or 11-1. Like, realistically, 11-1. I mean, there might be one of the coaches who believe they got Ohio State beat, but I don't know. Obviously, they're going to go in their minds. They're going to go 12-0. But coaches are just like everybody else. They kind of look at the schedule, look at what they can do, what's realistic. They're going to go. They're going to go balls to the wall to beat Ohio State. But in the back,
right. I almost don't want them to beat Ohio State, because if they do, they're going to come back and play flat the next game, which is going to be a West game.
No, they're not going to. This is a different era. This isn't the same old Hawks. I'm telling you. Don't you? This isn't those flat game like where you beat Ohio State and you come back and lose. Who'd they lose to? It was
Wisconsin. It was Wisconsin.
Oh, Wisconsin. Well, that's a given anyway. They can't score on Wisconsin very often. That's why I said they need to spread the field. But no, I don't. I mean, and I could be, and I'll find out. We'll find out Saturday if I'm right or wrong. But I'm going off everything I'm hearing and the positive and how positive everybody is, around the team. Like, people are talking about how much talent is there, that they can't believe they can actually go like 7-8 deep on the D line. They got the best linebackers in the freaking country, trio. One of the Doughboys will be back, the defensive backs. So, I mean, this is going to be, it's all up to the offense. And like I said, I think, but I hope, because like I told you guys, the only reason BF is still OC and not tight ends coach for the Raiders is because he was given more freedom, right? I mean, think about this though, how bad everybody talks about his son, right? Because most fans can't see reality that KF makes them take a knee, tells them not to score in the Minnesota game. Do you remember that? Do you remember that interview? He was asked, like, why didn't you guys try to score? And Padilla says, we were told not to score. If they scored a touchdown, they go up by 9, if I remember right. So, I mean, casual fans don't, or even fans who, try to not be casual, they don't see all the stuff that goes into it. So basically, KF is making Brian look bad.
Right. Yeah.
He really is. Like, in the country, the whole country sees it. And people will talk about it just because it's a topic of conversation. I know damn well some of those, professional football announcers or whatever you want to call them, those football people know that it's hard for Iowa to get yards when the head coach tells them not to do this or do that.
Well, so, I think for the national guys, right, what it is Iowa is annoying to them, right? Because we keep winning football games.
Yeah.
And we do it our way, or you know what I mean? Like with our style, the way we want to play, we force teams to play our football game, and it's ugly. It's and so it's not flashy, and it's not going to be, and so what you get is we climb up into the top 5 or top 3 at whatever the case may be, and it's like, well, crap, now we have to talk about this team. And it's fine when they're 8-4 and okay, they're top 15, top 20 team, whatever, they're just kind of hanging, whatever. somewhat obscure, but all of a sudden, we're 7-0 and 8-0, and it's like we're gonna have to talk about Iowa. This sucks because they're boring.
One of my biggest pet peeves about all this is like when they talk about play calling. I gotta bring this up because every fan talks about it. They always come at me with this. Did you not see Purdue run the ball on 3rd and 10?
Right.
You didn't, Paul, maybe, but I bet you did. Every single offense runs the ball on 3rd and long, but Iowa fans get all up in a roar. Northwestern did it twice, and Northwestern ran it on Northwestern, and they did KF style, and they beat Nebraska. But Iowa fans don't want that. They don't want to win. They just want we need 500 yards of offense. But no, every offense in the country runs the ball on 3rd and long. That is a staple of what a lot, because that's the best play to run the ball on.
Yeah.
Like, why would you do what the defense knows you're going to do every time? Like, that doesn't even make sense. But when I saw Purdue do it, they passed 60 times, but yet they ran the ball on 3rd and 10. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, I just want to get with people who think they know what Brian, Brian sucks, blah, blah, blah. Even though he's the only OC since 2008 that's had a top 50 scoring offense.
Here's the thing. If you don't want to run the ball on 3rd and long, stay out of 3rd and long. Win on 1st down.
You can't always do that. You can't always do that.
Well, but you get what I'm saying. Get those 3-4 yards on 1st down so that, maybe you're in third and medium.
Well, I mean, they try, but sometimes you throw the ball on 1st and 2nd down and they're incomplete passes.
Right.
And then the defense says, well, they're going to throw it again. And then you run it and you pick up the 1st down on 3rd and 10 by running it. So, I mean, if you remember last year's Nebraska game, they were 3rd and goal from the 15, and they ran Goodson up the middle, and he got to the half-yard line.
Right.
Which ended up being that dropped pass by Laporte, which that was Padilla's fault, but we can get into that another day. But yeah, as far as this game, I still think Iowa dominates the game. It may be like a 24-7 score, but I got 35-10 because I got a feeling Brian is going to open it up. He's going to be allowed to do what he wants to do in this game. He's going to be allowed to show what. Now, with the hurt receivers, blah, blah, blah. But I've heard so much about Jack Johnson that the hurt receivers really aren't bothering me. I want to see Jack Johnson on the field. Like, I mean, I want to see Wet Gin, even though he's not in the 2 deep. I'm excited for it all.
I want to see Mason Richmond out there at left tackle. I mean, especially, with a game like this, I want to see the offensive line get a chance to get some good work in, look good, put some good, good stuff on tape. Because I do want Iowa State to, and that's the other thing, fans, settle down a little bit too. Because if you were talking about their undersized defensive front, if we don't come out, throwing the ball all over the yard, that doesn't mean that we can't, or we,
right. It means it's a game plan. It means that's how you win a ball game.
And we can say we are allowed to save a few things for next week.
Right.
We don't got to show our whole hand.
That's 100% accurate. Yes.
But at the same time,
hey, guys, I just wanted to show you something. My wife, she's on YouTube watching us, or she was, but I just opened up YouTube, and we're the first thing that showed up.
Look at that.
Yeah. Well, yeah, but we're streaming so early in the morning.
Yeah.
People are getting up, getting ready for work, and they're like, "Oh, what's this?
What is this?"
Yeah. Dude. Yeah, I know. I mean, I put it on there on our pages to tune in, and I figured, I wondered if it was because people would be going to work and everything. And
yeah, I mean,
I think they're just tuning in for Brad Pitt.
Right.
Then they get there and they find out Brad Pitt really isn't a host in the show.
But yeah, I mean, like if you guys want to stream like prior to game or whatever, you'd probably get a lot more views because everybody would be fired up for it. But
absolutely,
Just to let
we
you
could
know.
try it. We could try it, but it all depends on Paul.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Well, hey guys, before we wrap this up, because we are hitting up to an hour, I wanted to just ask, what are your game day plans for tomorrow? What kind of spread, or any plans to go watch a game somewhere, or what do you guys got going on for the game?
Well, I got I think one of my son-in-laws coming over with my 5-year-old grandson because he's into Hawkeye football now. As you guys seen, we got him dressed up in gear, and he went on YouTube one day when I was over there visiting him. He brought up all the Iowa Hawkeye games and highlights, and he'd rush through all the plays, and I go, you don't have to do that. If you just want to see highlights, there are videos with just highlights on there. But I mean, he get on his Hawkeye gear and he was sitting there running through the YouTube watching all the Iowa Hawkeye games, and
That brings a little tear to my eye, Dean. I'm so proud.
Right? I get goosebumps, right?
Gotta start them young, dude. Gotta start them young.
Yeah.
How about you, Jason? What do you got going on tomorrow?
I got my man cave to myself. Like, this is
nice.
I mean, I'm gonna have the TV loud. I'm gonna be ready. Like, I am so fired up for football season. This is my heart attack time of year.
Yeah.
There's gonna be a time I'm gonna have a heart attack. It's this, because I get so excited. Goosebumps, the heart's racing, and I'm not even playing.
Yeah.
That's
right. Is it Iowa football if you are not on the edge of your seat until the last final play of the game?
Right? I don't think you will be this week, but you're right. I'll be that way before the kickoff. Like,
That's right.
Seriously, I'm gonna be. I probably won't even have food. Like, it's my first game of the year is just. It's just gonna be me.
I definitely have to get the food in before the game, because I'm not the one to have a plate of food in my lap or something during the game.
Right.
It's kind of like, have you ever been? For me, it's like, have you ever been to a Super Bowl party where there's people that are eating it and there's people that are watching,
Yeah.
And then they wait till commercial. Then you got those people that were eating or watching commercials.
Right.
And then the people that were watching the game will go get their plate. Well,
right.
I mean, that's like, I can't do those kind of parties because I'm just like, if
you're in the game.
Right.
It's an Iowa game, obviously. The Super Bowl, I could do it, but during an Iowa game, I'm just like, okay, what's Brian?
If we have like a family party or a family get together, and they'll probably laugh at this because if my granddaughter's still watching, she knows it's true. Is we'll go to the family party and they'll all be out in the backyard swimming, having fun and stuff. I'll be in the living room at whoever's house we're at watching the game on TV. Or if I can't watch it on TV, the good old trusty cell phone comes in handy too.
Yeah. If I ever have to leave town or whatever, I watch it on my phone on the way out of town, or until the game's over.
Yeah. The year that Iowa beat Minnesota, when Minnesota had a really good team, I had to. We were driving home from Ventura to Bakersfield, about a 2.5-hour drive. And at that time I could have tune-in radio. So I put tune-in radio on my cell phone and hooked it into my car. And we were watching it. But I always knew when Iowa or Minnesota scored because it would come up on the scoreboard long before the play-by-play did it. It had real-time ticker on the score and what was going on, but the play-by-play was so far behind.
That's the hard part about doing this. Like, if we ever did this during a game, you would see something different than what we would see. Everybody would be like, you'd be cheering, and we'd be like, what the heck?
What the heck? They hadn't even stopped the ball yet.
I don't know how it's going to be. Well, now that I got YouTube TV, I don't know how it's going to be, but when I had Spectrum to watch games, the game was over for everybody else because, I'd be on there on Twitter and everything else and on Facebook and doing these game threads and the game would be over. I go, well, guys, no, we still have the ball. We haven't scored yet. What do you mean the game is over? You ruined it for me.
Yeah, I have YouTube TV too. I love it. To me, it's the best.
Is there a delay on that?
I mean, there's a delay on everything. It just depends on how much. Remember, YouTube TV is straight off the internet.
Yeah.
Right.
So your internet would be different than mine. Like and from what I hear, you don't even have good internet in California, right? Or where you're at.
Well, where I'm at, I don't have. As matter of fact, we've been running on for the Wi-Fi. We've been running on the bottom dot the whole time.
Yeah.
So I don't know if I'm freezing up on you guys or not. I don't know
No,
what you guys see on your
it's
end.
been really good so far.
It's been really good. But like here in Omaha, I have CenturyLink, and we have the top of the line. We have 1,000.
Yeah. Oh, we had that with Spectrum, but Spectrum won't come out in the rural part of thing. Matter of fact, our lack of a good internet service cost me my cameras that I wanted in my security system that Paul helped me set up with, because they won't do it unless it's hardwired internet, I guess.
Yeah.
I mean, look what state you live in.
I just wanted to shout out to my mom real quick, because I'll be watching the game with her. Watch all the games with her. She is the best Hawkeye mom out there. So, Mom, if you're watching or watch this later, thank you for raising me right.
So. Oh, how sweet!
Aww. Yeah.
Right.
And tomorrow's spread will be, I will probably have eaten breakfast before the game, so I probably won't be eating anything during the game. Although by the time the game gets over, it'll be lunchtime, and I'll be starving for something.
Yeah. We're doing wings and mozzarella sticks. So
what's that?
Speaking of heart attacks, we're doing wings and mozzarella sticks. So
you are.
Yeah.
Normally on a game day, I would do this as a meal. Is I would get Ritz crackers, salami, or summer sausage, and slices of cheese, and maybe a couple other things, and I would make it for breakfast. But I would limit myself. It wouldn't be unlimited grazing through the game. I go, okay, this game's over lunch. This is my lunch. This is what I'm going to eat. Because for me, it's a tradition rather than eating a regular lunch.
Mm-hmm.
My family's a huge crackers, salami, and cheese family.
You guys can save time and money. Go get you a Lunchables.
There you go. When the last time one Lunchable would satisfy my hunger, I have no idea. I'd lose a lot of weight, though, if I lived off of Lunchables, though.
Right.
And only ate them for one meal at a time.
I won't be able to eat at all. I can't eat on game days. Like, even when I tailgate, I don't eat. I'll have a couple of drinks or whatever. But I'll get the bubble guts. I'll get nervous. Like during Iowa games, I do. Like I get all nervous and I'm fired up, so I can't eat until the game's over for the most part, unless it's a blowout. If it's a blowout, then I'll be like, I can eat. But yeah. So I'm ready for tomorrow.
Absolutely. So, are we ready to wrap this up? Anybody got anything else?
Because I got to take a certain little girl to school who came back to watch the end.
Hayden wants to get on the video, everybody. So there
you go, Hayden. We got a black cat.
His name's Hayden.
You need to put a yellow vest or a sweater or something on her. That's what I would
do. He's a little Casanova too.
All right.
You know what? Terry's Sensi thing just popped back up. So maybe before we go, just one more reminder, guys and gals, if you're watching, Terry Christensen, one of our admins, birthday's coming up next week. She's turning 39 again, and check out her Sensi page. Get waxes, soaps, just all kinds of great stuff. Check out her page. Her link's here in the video. Thanks so much.
And don't forget to like and subscribe.
There we go.
Guys, video. We'll be back Monday with our take on the game, and I'm gonna be emailing over the weekend after the game. John Lazar, former fullback, running back for Iowa Hawkeyes, and who just missed Hayden Fry by a year. He had the misfortune of playing for Bob Cummings. I don't know if John feels that way or not, but he didn't want to come on, and he doesn't want to come on and talk. But he said if I sent him questions, he would answer them the best he could. And we talked about the game last week between Nebraska and Northwestern. Mm-hmm. That game, and he gave me a lot of insight. But also, we got sidetracked, and we had a lot of texts about other stuff too. And I got a lot of good stories about his playing days and everything else like that. And he watches this. He says this is the only Hawk podcast he watches.
Nice.
So hi, John.
Hey, John.
I'll be getting that email to you right after the game tomorrow.
I can't wait. I'm ready.
All right.
Okay.
Go Hawks, everybody.
See you guys on Monday morning. Bye.
Go Hawks.
Go Hawks.
Go Hawks. Woo! Game week.